What's good, y'all? Welcome back to a brand new episode of the weirdest videos from all over the internet. Without further ado, let's get to the video. Hope you enjoy.
Batman. This army general from Uganda demanded $1 billion and a wife from Turkey. The mosquito's general thirst for human blood around the world is increasing while the biodiversity of the earth is worsening. There is a fountain in Italy that is just flowing with red wine 24/7 that you could go to right now. There is a neighborhood in Germany that has not raised their rent in over 500 years. The rent for an entire year in this neighborhood is still less than €1. It was founded in 1521 and is the world's oldest existing social housing complex. There's a bike path in Belgium where you can just cycle in water. The path is submerged in a lake and the water surface is at the cyclist's eye level. My name's Adorian. Follow me to see what's happening in the world tomorrow.
Whoever that man is from Uganda, let him stay there because something wrong with him. Demanding a wife from Turkey. Like, why Turkey? Why are you being so specific, weirdo? First of all, why don't you go get her yourself? And demanding a wife from Turkey like she's an object that he can just acquire. Like I said, like, do y'all got jails in Uganda? If yes, put him in one of them, because he deserves it. Give me a wife from Turkey. Get out of my face, weirdo.
He removed her pinky and her ring finger. On the night of April 22nd, 2025, David and Celeste were arguing over text. Celeste seemed to be upset because she found out that David was talking to other women, and she threatens David with the thing that he cares about the most. She tells him that she's going to expose their relationship to the world, to end his career and destroy his life. And obviously David did not take that lightly, especially since his album was dropping in less than 3 days. David quickly comes up with a plan to silence her. At around 8:40 p.m., he sends an Uber to pick her up and bring her to his house. She agrees, gets in this Uber, and arrives to his house in Hollywood Hills at around 10 p.m. She walks inside and she's never seen alive again. Prosecutors believe that he took her life shortly after. He drives back to LA the next morning, and you won't believe this, but he goes and does a radio interview and pretends like nothing happened. Just 2 days after the crime, he performed a launch party. He also goes to Paris for Fashion Week. He's seen taking photos and smiling on the red carpet. And about 12 days after he took Celeste's life, he dismembered her body in his garage. That same day, David left LA to start his tour. He leaves Celeste's body in his Tesla that's registered to him and walks away from it. Like, what did he think was gonna happen? Neighbors start noticing that this car hasn't moved for a while, and they also start complaining about the smell.
Not gonna lie to y'all, I have no idea who this David guy is, and I don't care because I get nauseous just looking at him. But I've heard about this before, like on TikTok or whatever, and yeah, like, wasn't this girl, rest in peace, underage? So he basically abused her, you know, had intercourse with a minor, and then unalived her and dumped her. I mean, yeah, y'all already know how I feel about this. Hope he's under the jail forever, because that's disgusting. Like, I wish I could wipe the smile off his face, you know what I mean?
This is why you should be scared of that one person you're talking to online that you're about to meet in real life. Ashley Wadsworth, a 19-year-old Canadian girl, was looking for love. She met 23-year-old Jack Seppel online, and in November of 2021, she flew to Chelmsford, England to meet him. At first, things were amazing, according to Ashley's friend Anna Marie Taylor, and Ashley planned on staying with Jack until April. But as the relationship began to crumble, Ashley decided to buy a plane ticket back home for February. And this is when things took a horrific turn. When Jack found out about Ashley's plan to return home early, he flew into a rage. On the morning of February 1st, a neighbor heard a female scream. She said that Ashley then came to her and told her that Jack was going to kill her. She said that he had beaten her up and thrown a kitten against a wall. The neighbor said that hours later, when she spoke to Jack, he seemed calm and had apologized to Ashley. At 9:30 a.m., this neighbor left for a medical appointment. At 4:13 p.m., police forced entry into Jack's apartment after friends raised concerns for Ashley's safety. They found Ashley strangled and stabbed to death on Jack's bed while he was on a FaceTime call to his sister. Jack Seppel was sentenced to life in prison.
I mean, we probably all feel the same about this Jack guy, you know? I mean, there's nothing really good that we can say about him because there's literally nothing good about him, you know what I mean? Not only is he a woman abuser, but he also abuses kitten. like I said before, under the jail forever. And not only this, I mean, his tactic is very like illogical and dumb. Y'all agree? Like, no, babe, I don't want you to leave. At an earlier date, let me stab you and unalive you instead. I guess he's one of those if I can't have you, no one can type of individuals, you know, aka psychopath. I mean, hope he's in jail forever, and R.I.P. to the girl. And I mean, I don't want to blame her, but I mean, just looking at him, he literally looks unstable and like a psychopath. How did she not see this to begin with? But I'm too late now. Anyways, on to the next one. Very unfortunate.
This man dropped his 7-month-old son off of a Connecticut bridge and his son died as a result. He's now serving 70 years in prison. However, he said, this jury would convict a bologna sandwich and that his case was a wrongful death cause. He claims he never tried to do that and he doesn't know why he's being prosecuted. But let's get into this case and let's dig deeper about what's going on here. Apparently, 96 hours before the baby was killed, Tony Marino here threatened the mother and the child. DCF is named in the lawsuit because they failed to get the kid 96 hours before this murder happened. Prosecutors say that he threw the baby off the bridge. He also jumped off the bridge after he threw the kid off the bridge, and then the kid's body was found about 2 weeks later, 14 miles downstream. Apparently, him and the baby mother broke up and he was suicidal. That's what the court says. So they rejected his accidental killing claim right away. Now, his ex actually testified saying that after the baby was born, he would threaten to kill them both. Now, back to the DCF claim. The state is saying DCF followed protocol. Sure, they may have followed protocol, but is the protocol correct? Now, obviously, he's trying to get his 70 years overturned right now, so he is going to say whatever he wants. He's going to try to make a case for himself. 2 days after he got custody of the child died. You guys think he dropped the kid accidentally off the bridge? With what he said lining up to what happened, I don't think I'm really keen to believe him. Let me know your thoughts.
Here are all the horror movies that released this week and where you can watch them. First up, Deepwater. You can watch this one in theaters. About a group of international passengers on a flight from LA to Shanghai when they're forced to make an emergency landing in dangerous waters, and the group is forced to work together and overcome their differences if they hope to escape their sinking plane and the frenzy of sharks drawn to the wreckage. Salt along the tongue. You can rent this one on video on demand. And this is about Mattia, who moves in with her estranged aunt after her mom dies, but from beyond the grave, Mattia's mom possesses her daughter to protect her from this evil spirit that's using food as a gateway. And lastly, Hokum. You can watch this one in theaters. A witch. And this is about a horror author who visits an Irish inn to scatter his parents' ashes, unaware that the property is said to be haunted by a witch.
Places you can't visit. Coca-Cola Vault. Snake Island. Bohemian Grove. Area 51. North Sentinel Island. Google Data Centers. Room 39. Nemo Point. A bonded part of the Paris catacombs. Vatican Secret Archives.
Oh no, Coca-Cola's vault. Like, what do they got in there? A can of Pepsi? Nobody wants to go there anyways. Don't worry, Coca-Cola.
A black Tesla was parked in a tow yard in Hollywood for 3 days, and when workers walked past it, they noticed that the smell got worse and worse. Eventually, they called the cops, and when they opened the front trunk, they found a dismembered body in a bag. But not just any bag. This was an actual body bag. This Tesla was registered to 20-year-old David Anthony Burke. The body inside this Tesla was of 13-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, who went missing in 2020.
My apologies for pausing, but I mean, this is literally worse than what I thought. I did say minor in the beginning, but I didn't know the exact age. I was thinking like maybe 17, but 13, that's even worse. Yeah, hopefully you're under the jail, like I said, because this is like even worse than what I thought it was. And the fact that he left her remains in his car registered under his name, like, you're very smart, David, very smart. Dummy.
This poor little girl was found dismembered and missing body parts like her finger. Even though David denies being involved, more and more evidence is constantly being presented that is only making him look suspicious.
People before and after prison. Cameron Herring. Esteban Carpio.
You won't believe what this man captured on camera. This Snow White statue at a Mexican theme park in Veracruz is said to be cursed. In this footage right here, you can see a man filming the statues of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And then, all of a sudden, the Snow White statue blinks. The man who filmed this video snuck into the theme park past midnight to try to prove a legend, as it is said that the statues of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs come to life at night. This theme park, Reino Mágico, receives thousands of visits each month, but few know its actual history. It was built on top of a cemetery.
Just moments after that clip that you saw, animal trainer Dawn Brancheau would be attacked by the orca she had been training and working with for years, and a few minutes after that, after being dragged into the water, she would be dead. So this is obviously a really infamous case. Dawn was a famous trainer who worked at SeaWorld for years. She started off working with dolphins at a Six Flags park, but eventually she moved over to SeaWorld working with all sorts of underwater creatures. But the work that made Dawn famous was her work with orcas and the revival of the Shamu show at SeaWorld. Dawn was featured on billboards and posters all across Orlando and even the United States, advertising her work at SeaWorld. And she always was giving interviews talking about how she had to stay in tip-top shape in order to deal with animals like this. She ran marathons, she cycled, lifted weights, and she tried her hardest to develop good, meaningful relationships with these animals that she worked with. However, all of this would come crashing down on February 24th, 2010. On that date, Dawn performed a Dine with Shamu show with one of the orcas named Tilikum. So all of these shows were obviously planned out, they had a routine, and at the end of the show, Dawn was basically going through the motions, laying on the mat, petting Tilikum on the head. People were there watching her in the audience, filming her, when suddenly people heard her yell, "Ouch!" and she was then dragged into the water, either by her ponytail or her arm. Immediately, the staff began freaking out. They knew that this was really bad, but Tilikum had a hold of Dawn, and he was not going to let go of her. Eventually, after about 45 minutes, they were able to recover Dawn's body. Now, the autopsy report stated that Dawn had died from blunt force trauma and drowning, but her injuries were even more horrific than can be described. Her spinal cord had been completely severed. She had sustained fractures to her ribs, jawbone, and cervical vertebrae. Her left arm had been completely torn off of her body. Her left knee had been dislocated, and her scalp had been completely torn off of her head. So this death ignited a firestorm in America. Obviously, there were lawsuits, there was litigation, there was talk of criminal charges being filed. Eventually, there was a documentary called Blackfish that was produced and released. And obviously, this completely changed how people viewed orcas in captivity and really animals in captivity that were performing with people and being forced to perform. And this lone event would forever change the world of amusement park aquarium, live performances of these types, and yes, SeaWorld obviously immediately stopped doing these orca human performances, and they haven't done one since. This is just a horrific situation and story however you look at it, and that footage is haunting.
First thing first, can we please stop referring at these terrifying creatures as orcas and call them by their real name? Killer whales. Like, it's funny to me, like, I don't know why people why get in the water and swim with this thing when it's literally more dangerous than a great white shark. You would never see an instructor, whatever these swimmers are called, RIP to the lady, you'll never see them swim with great white sharks or like tiger sharks or whatever, you know what I mean? But when it comes to killer whales, excuse my southering, they do. With confidence, and I never understood why. It's literally more dangerous than any great white shark. To be honest, these are the pit bulls of the ocean. It's literally the most dangerous sea mammal. Yet people swim with them like they're dolphins or belugas. I mean, even dolphins can be dangerous. None of this makes sense to me. RIP to the lady, I'm not gonna make fun of her, but it's in the name. Killer whales. Damn.
This girl went to use the bathroom at a gas station and noticed there was an automatic lock installed on the outside of the door. She checked the other doors and none of them had anything like that. While she was trying to open the lock, two men who worked there kept locking it again from where they were. She asked them why there was a device in the women's restroom that could lock someone inside, but they didn't really give her a clear answer. She says that if you're inside and they activate that lock, there's no way to get out. When she started recording, the gas station employees told her she wasn't allowed to film there. That's what finally convinced her that something wasn't right. She says maybe some people will think it's normal and that she's overreacting, but she's not going to ignore something like this. She wants to warn others because there are a lot of young and vulnerable girls living in that area. She even decided to call the police, and at that point the employees had to explain what was going on. It turned out the device was installed because some Latino men would come in every evening, go into the women's restroom, and leave it dirty. Then one of the police officers reported it to the fire department chief, and the gas station employees were made to remove the lock that same day since it wasn't safe.
She told her friend she was walking in the forest naked on a spiritual adventure, and they never heard from her again after that day. In 2013, 19-year-old Maureen Kelly behind me went to Gifford Pinchot National Forest in Washington. Her and her friends were camping there. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary. Honestly, it was probably a really fun trip for her. She randomly told her friends, "I'm going on a spiritual journey." That's when she stripped all of her clothes off, took a fanny pack with her, and disappeared into the woods. And now this may seem odd, but her friends actually encouraged that. They didn't think anything of it. She even took her shoes off. She just walked barefoot in the forest. She had a knife, a bunch of matches, and a compass in the fanny pack. She didn't even take her phone, and honestly, she probably needed it, which is sad. Now, like I said, she was never heard from or seen again. Rescuers and searchers came out looking for her. They found barefoot footprints that led up to Canyon Creek Trail. But another strange thing happened. The footprints just randomly disappeared at one point on the trail. No trace of her or anything, no footprints anywhere else. It just disappeared like she vanished into thin air. Now, obviously, when she didn't return, her friends reported her missing, and that's what led to the search. This may have been normal in their friend group, but I am sure they regret to this day letting her go on that spiritual journey. This case is still open today. It remains a mystery. Nobody knows what happened to her. There's no foul play or struggles involved, as the evidence suggests. Many people claim that the friends did it, but there's no evidence to support that. Maybe if there's a ditch area or like a huge fall off nearby, she just fell into that randomly and that's why the footprints stopped, but I don't know. The reports I was reading, it didn't seem like there was any huge ditches nearby. What do you guys think happened to Maureen? Let me know.
They made a doll of their dead son. Let's do full spoilers for the 2019 horror short film The Doll Maker. The film follows a married couple who recently lost their young son. Desperate to see him again, they visit a mysterious doll maker who doesn't just create ordinary dolls, he creates dolls that can bring the dead back to life. The doll maker asks for 3 things: a lock of hair from the deceased person, a personal item, and clothes that haven't been washed. Using those items, he creates a doll so lifelike that it feels like your loved one has truly returned. When the mother receives the doll of her son, she's overwhelmed with happiness. But she barely listens to the rules. The doll maker explains that when you're inside of the home, the doll seems completely alive, but as soon as you step outside, it's just an ordinary doll again. There's also one final rule: an hourglass comes with the doll, and once the last grain of sand falls, the doll must be put away until the next day. If not, your mind will begin to distort reality, and you'll forget that the person was even dead. The husband thinks that this entire thing is insane and just a waste of money. Meanwhile, his wife becomes completely attached to this doll. She carries it around the house, feeds it, talks to it like it's their son, and slowly stops taking care of herself and the house. Eventually, the husband snaps. He drags his wife outside to force her to face reality, and as soon as he does that, she turns into a lifeless doll in his arms. The film then reveals the horrifying truth. Earlier, the husband had hid the doll from his wife because he was tired of how obsessed she was with this doll. Unable to cope with losing her son once again, she ends her life. Consumed with guilt, the husband returns to the doll maker and has him make a doll of his wife. And just like his wife, he ignores the rules of the hourglass. As time passes, his reality becomes completely distorted and he truly believes that his wife and son are still alive. In the final scene, the husband drags the dolls back inside of the house so they can come back to life again. The end.
There's a case in Texas that was cold for 34 years, and a class of college students maybe cracked it in 6 weeks. In 1991, the body of Cynthia Gonzalez was found in a creek bed in a rural part of Johnson County, Texas. Now, whoever killed Cynthia left almost no evidence behind, but the police did know one thing, and that's that Cynthia ran an adult entertainment business and she was on her way to meet a client the night that she was murdered. Now, this is coming from a really comprehensive deep dive I just did on this case for the Heart Starts Pounding podcast, but for years, police were looking into men in Cynthia's life to find who could be responsible. But everyone kept coming back cleared. They even looked into a local serial killer operating in the area. Eventually, the case went cold until a forensics class at the University of Texas Arlington got their hands on the case files. Now, Arlington police didn't really have enough officers to go through all the cold cases in their files, so they reached out to this class to help them. It was kind of a class exercise and kind of a, hey, we actually need your help. And within 6 weeks, this class noticed something in the case files that was completely overlooked by police 30 years ago. And that's that someone had confessed to Cynthia's murder multiple times, but it wasn't a man, it was a woman. One that was very close to Cynthia's boyfriend. There are a lot of twists and turns in this whole case, and there's a big deep dive that I just did on the Heart Starts Pounding podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Kids think anything is AI. Let me explain. So a dad recently shared to the internet how his young son came running into the room claiming that he found a new AI on his iPad that could answer every single math question. Well, the AI the young boy was talking about was the literal calculator app, and following this, more parents came out and claimed that their children have said the exact same thing about the calculator app. And parents have also came online and claimed that their children are calling NPCs in video games AI characters now. However, the one that shocked me the most was I recently saw a comment section on a Zach King video, and there were kids in there claiming his content was AI, but little do they know, AI copied Zach King. We really went from iPad kids to AI kids.
I mean, half my viewers accuse me of being an AI for some reason, even though you can literally tell that I'm very real. I mean, there's no filter, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just a guy, just like you. Or you may be a woman. I mean, you know what I meant. I understand the kids, though. Calculators AI.
Yes, what you're seeing is real. It is a giant centipede man statue that was in China. It hung from the rafters as you entered this Chinese theme park called the Land of Wilderness, and it was scaring so many people they had to take it down. Does this scare you as much as it scares me? Because could you imagine this thing at night? Could you imagine it falling on you? What a way to go. Also, why does it have Rudolph deer antlers? This theme park also has other weird stuff because it's an art theme park. Also, what is bro doing back there being all sneaky? That thing up there looks like Art the Clown. I am kind of obsessed with it. And here's Big Fish in Grass. A doll that has 3 faces. And this absolutely terrifying monstrosity with a bunch of doll arms coming out of it, just in the grass like that, like a terrifying scarecrow. I'm just imagining this place at night with nobody around, and when it looks super abandoned, like late at night, I'm scared. But yeah, no, this thing is the final boss of my nightmares, I fear. What do you think about bro?
You're not going to believe this. So there's this guy in Tampa, Florida named Lieutenant Dan. And if you didn't already know, there's a massive Category 4 hurricane that's about to hit Tampa, Florida. And people are trying to convince Lieutenant Dan to leave his boat, but his response is, "My boat floats." Now, people have offered to get him a hotel, convincing him to leave and get into a safe area, but it seems that he doesn't care how high the waters get. His boat floats. He has a sailboat, and it's likely to say when the Category 4 hurricane comes in, the sailboat is going to tip over. But luckily, as of today, the police department showed up and told him that he's going to have to evacuate. And from what we know now is Lieutenant Dan is in a safe shelter.
We just got a massive update regarding the setting of Terrifier 4, with it now being based around New Year's Eve, which I'm not gonna lie, gets me kind of excited. It also gets me to believe that this story is gonna be taking place directly after the events of Terrifier 3, which if you remember, at the end of Terrifier 3, Art the Clown is now technically a human. He was stabbed by the magical sword from Sienna. She loses the sword, but Art the Clown lost all of his powers. We also know that Victoria, when she died, opened up a massive portal to hell, dragging Sienna's niece down there, meaning now Sienna has to retrieve her from hell and stay alive. But I genuinely think the craziest part is that it's gonna be based around New Year's Eve. Can we take a second and think about Art the Clown during New Year's Eve? We've seen what he did during Christmas, and we're now going to have to re-experience it as Art the Clown as a human. And I guess the biggest question is Art the Clown going to be human the whole entire movie, or are we going to see him make a deal with the devil again, becoming immortal, or take Sienna down as the last living family member? Because if Sienna doesn't go back down to hell to retrieve her niece is trapped there forever, and we're all going off of the notion that she's still alive. Who honestly knows? I just think it's crazy that it's been more or less confirmed that it's going to be based directly after the events of Terrifier 3, because honestly no one was expecting that. A lot of us were expecting a time jump, maybe a year or two in the future, not directly after, but with it pretty much lining up with the ending of Terrifier 3 ending on Christmas, it all kind of makes sense. Now look, this was just announced by director Damien Leone, and all I can say is I'm all in and I'm excited. Don't forget to like and follow for more, and comment down below if you're excited for Terrifier 4.
If you have ever thought about putting a video on the internet before and haven't done this yet, I would like to give you a secret that most creators, if probably not every single creator, has figured out by the time they really get successful. At some point, you're going to realize that people are not really watching you. And for all of this time, you could have been doing whatever you want. It is so common to feel afraid of making content. Like, every creator, I think, in the beginning feels this. I have felt it for many years. I've made thousands of videos over 20 years, and it took me about 15 years to figure this out. And it does not have to take you that long. I was just a little slow. And you're worried about the people in your life, your friends, your family. Honestly, the people that you probably haven't talked to in years, but were friends with at one point, you're still concerned what they're gonna think too. That's totally reasonable. You're not a bad person for feeling that way. Because the truth is, some of them might actually watch you and judge you and think negatively of you, and maybe even talk to other people that know you negatively. But here's the secret. The first time people see you do something new and you put it out to everyone, there's going to be a, oh, what's this? This is new. And there's going to be different reactions. So
once again, I do apologize for pausing. I don't like doing this usually, but I had to say something. I completely disagree. Now, I know that this may apply to some individuals, and I'm not going to judge y'all. We're all different, but this doesn't apply to me. You can judge me all you want. It doesn't matter to me. My skin is like rhinoceros skin. Like, you bad words do not faze me. I get them every day. But I do understand his point. But like I said, it does not apply to me. And the reason I'm saying this, well, it's my video. Thank you very much.
people are going to think, wow, this is weird. But once they see your face for the third, fourth, fifth, 10th, 20th time, they're going to be so unfazed by it. They're going to be so used to it, whether they like you doing it or not. No one you know is sitting there watching every single piece of content that you put out and analyzing it and rallying against it. And if there is this rare occurrence where somebody is spending their entire life force commenting negative things about you, talking behind your back to the people that you know in your life, those people's opinions just genuinely do not matter. They are stuck in their own problems in life and are projecting it onto you, and there's no good reason to be doing that in life. And if anything, from my perspective, I just feel bad for them. It really just takes experience to be able to even internalize that thought. I can't just implant this into your brain. You have to feel it yourself. And even though I've been making videos for 20 years, I know exactly who in my life watches every single video I make, who in my life maybe watches one once in a while, and then people in my life who don't watch any of them. Like, honestly, all of that is okay. Every single part of it. It's genuinely actually none of my business, like how people feel about my content. My business is making things that are interesting to me and make me feel something that hopefully makes someone else feel something. People are so busy in their own lives. You know this for yourself. You're busy in your own life. You don't care about my life. Like, you see the things I make, it's interesting, but then you move on. You don't think about me later in the day. People don't care about you. You don't care about me that much. And that's very freeing for me, and it should be freeing for you too. 100 years from now, nobody's gonna remember any of us. So like, if you do something weird, what does it matter? You already know what you want to make. I know you do. It's in your head. You've thought about it a bunch of times. Because genuinely, it might change your life in the way that if I had never made videos, let's say actually I made videos for a while and it didn't work out and I stopped. I literally probably wouldn't be married to my wife and have my children. I wouldn't have the financial wins I've had in my life. I would be a completely different person, to be honest. And I love who I am today because of the fact that I'm out here making videos still. This is my 20th year doing this shit. You see so many creators every single day on here, but compared to how many people are not making videos, it is like, this is a pie for every single person who decides to even try. Yeah, man, just go post something.
And yes, just like he just said, in 100 years, unfortunately, all of you will not be here anymore, and I will miss y'all a lot. Cause yes, I will remain. I'm special like that. Nah, I'm just joking, but anyways. Anyways, y'all, episode is now officially over. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.